Hey everybody, Sinister Lex here, and it is Crooked Copy Thursday. Today we're talking about the importance of telling the right story. So anybody who's been around me a day or two, a month, a year, whatever, you know I'm all about storytelling. I'm big on storytelling. Storytelling is important to me and my writing. But a lot of people miss the part where you tell the right story. And I hadn't really even thought about it that much until this year, how important it was to tell the right story. I've been telling people to tell a story, and it is important to tell a story because you want to give your prospect something to grasp onto, something their mind can attach to and stick with, and then something that's going to be able to guide those people through your words to the sell. That's what stories do. They take us to an internal world, a different place and time. What the hell, my back itches. Anyway, stories take us to other worlds. They teleport us. But it has to be the right story. This is why it's so important to know your audience. You got to know your audience. Do you know your audience? Who are they? I ask this question a lot. I ask people a lot. Who is your audience? Who are we marketing to? How old are they? What do they like? Stuff like this. They don't know. People always tell me they don't know. They're not sure. They are marketing to ages 25 to 90, and that doesn't make any sense to me. Because the people who are 90 don't want the same story that someone 25 is. So you need to know who you want your product to be sold to, and other people who are outside of that will still buy from you if it's quality. They will still buy, okay? But the thing is, you got to know who that person is. You need to know who they are so you can tell them the right story. Because when you tell the wrong story, the wrong story. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it. It's like the right story, the wrong story. One gets results, one falls flat. Because we don't all want to hear the same stories, okay? I don't want to hear a story about Little Red Riding Hood or Barbies. Those things don't interest me. If you try to talk to me about Barbies in copy when I'm trying to buy a grill to cook a fucking steak, you're going to miss the mark, and I'm not going to be interested in what you have to say. Okay, so you have to have the right story. And one of the ways I wanted to bring this up to you was to put it in the frame of the movie Suicide Squad. Let's talk about this because it's been on my mind a little bit this week. Suicide Squad could have been a great movie. It could have been great. It could have told a great story and almost did. But they missed the mark. Oh, they disappointed so many people. I hope they fix it in movie 2 because they disappointed a lot of people. You see, it centered around villains fighting another villain. Villains banding together to go fight another villain. So essentially it became a superhero movie. The villains became superheroes. Nobody wanted to see that. I didn't want to see the villains become superheroes. They didn't even seem all that bad to me. And that's not what I wanted. So whenever they made the villains into superheroes and just rehashed a fucking Marvel Comics movie, I was so upset. I was mad. I almost didn't even want to watch the whole show. The story they should have told centers around the Joker and Harley Quinn. Obviously, it's freaking blatantly obvious. I don't know how they missed this. They missed it so bad. They told the wrong story. The Joker and Harley Quinn. You could have had only those two characters in this, and this movie, you could have cut out everyone else. You could have cut out Deadpool. You could have cut out the Flame guy. Cut out all of them, and the movie would have been just fine. Why? Because it was a love story. This was a love story. The people who were watching this, they weren't watching for another fucking superhero story. They were watching it for passion. A passionate love story. Not the traditional kind, something different. But people who are into this sort of movie, these sort of characters, they're not looking for the same thing as what people who are into regular old Batman and Superman want. We want something darker, something sinister, something more passionate, something fueled by raw, powerful emotions. There's one line in the whole movie that captures this, one scene, one moment that got the story right. It's too bad that it was an afterthought. The whole Harley Quinn Joker story was an afterthought. They just kind of plugged it in there and it was there, but it wasn't the main focus. And for that reason, the whole story crashed and burned. And the movie wasn't terrible. I mean, it was made okay. It's just that they told the wrong story, and for that reason it missed the mark. One line, one memorable line, one line that I can remember from the whole movie.
Question. Would you die for me?
Yes.
That's too easy. Would you live for me?
Yes.
Careful. Do not say this oath thoughtlessly. Desire becomes surrender, surrender becomes power. You want this?
I do.
Say it. Say it. Say it. Pretty, 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 pretty.
Please.
God, you're so good.
I'm fucked up, I'm black and blue, I'm built for all the abuse. I got secrets that nobody knows. You got me hooked up on the feeling, you got me hanging from the ceiling. So don't let me
Desire becomes surrender, surrender becomes power. That was the line the Joker spoke. And in that one line, the music was right. The sentiment was right. The passion was there. The emotions. Harley Quinn leaps into this vat of whatever sludge it is. Whenever she gives in to her desires, she surrenders to her desires, and that makes her powerful. And now we have this raw, clashing, chaotic, fucking emotion, passion spilling over, and then the Joker jumps in after her, and he's willing to give up everything. He starts to walk off and leave her, and it's just like pure. What is this? You can't go, Joker. You can't just leave her. And then he stops, and he turns, and he jumps in the toxic sludge and saves her. And the music is right. It tickles our emotions, and if that movie had just been that, why couldn't it have just been that? All I wanted, I'm a guy, but I wanted a love story. I wanted a passionate love story. I wanted to see the Joker and Harley Quinn wreaking havoc on the entire city. That's all I wanted. Just those two together, their own little world, nothing else, no one else, living in the moment, right now in this present moment, passionately, embracing this passionate lock of love and destruction and world domination. That's all I wanted. Not giving a fuck about anyone else or anything else, and the movie would have been fine. That's the story that I wanted. That's the story I think a lot of you guys wanted. And if they had told that story, we all would have been a lot happier. Some of you, I know a lot of you are going to say that it was okay. It was an okay story. It was okay that they banded together and they went and fought these stupid ass monsters that didn't even have faces. I thought that was the most boring shit ever. And then went up against these super villains from like the Marvel universe that are like doing all kinds of crazy witchcraft shit. I don't know. To me, that was just stupid. I just thought it was stupid. And so I was really disappointed in the movie. They told the wrong story. They captured me with one line. They had the colors. They had the branding. They had everything. Wrong story. And that's what's going to happen if you guys are telling the wrong story. And this is why I want to bring this up, because some of you are trying to become copywriters. You're trying to understand what it means to write a story, to tell a story in your words. And I talk about sensory-based language, you know, the five senses, sight, smell, sound, touch, and taste. All of these, weaving these into your copy. But it's not just that. You have to go a step beyond. You have to go beyond that. You have to understand your people. Whenever you're writing copy, you have to know who you're writing for, so you can get inside their mind and figure out what they want. What do they want from your words? You figure out the right story, and that's how you win the game. That's how you create the right brand. That's how you capture the right emotions. It's got to be the right story, not just a story. Anybody can tell a story. I can tell a story. I've done it in my past Upwork profiles, and it's worked okay. telling a story is okay. You're going to catch some people because it's going to be the right story for some people. That's why Suicide Squad captures some people and pulls them in. Some people like Suicide Squad a lot because it captured what they wanted, but it didn't capture what the majority wanted this time around, which was something different, something unique, a different take, something more passionate. Not just Batman's rage or Superman's strength, but somebody coming from a more vulnerable position. Because villains are different, they're vulnerable. They don't have all the crazy ass weapons usually, which they did in this movie because they just handed them to him. Here's all your weapons, here's all your stuff, here's an army to go fight with you, and all this stuff. Stupid. I don't want to sit here and rant about Suicide Squad all day. I just want to make sure you guys understand the difference between telling a story and telling the right story. When you tell the right story, you're going to engage the people you want to engage, and they're going to buy from you because it's going to be the story that they want to read or want to hear or whatever from you. You tell the wrong story, you're going to catch some people, and you might even make some sales, but you're not going to catch as many people, anywhere near as many people, nor are you going to have the kind of impact, the kind of earth-shattering effect on other people that you could have. So keep that in mind as you are telling your stories, as you're crafting them. Who is it for, and what story do they actually want from you? It's going to take some research on your part. You're going to have to do a little digging. I can't tell you this. So you have to figure out who your people are. You have to know them, specifically who they are, how old they are, what they like to wear, where they like to hang out, what do they think about, and what do they dream about, and how do they see themselves in the world? How do they want to see themselves? How do they want others to see them? When you figure out these questions, you are going to have the right stuff to craft stories that speak to them. If I buy a book that is a horror, I do not want a romance. Makes sense? I don't want a sci-fi. I don't want an action flick. I just want a horror. That's why I bought that genre of book. Tell the right story and people will love you. Tell the wrong story, a few people will love you, and a few people will buy from you, but not that many. That's all I got for this one, guys. Subscribe down below if you want to see more. Let me know your questions if you have any questions about this. What kind of stories are you telling? What kind of, who's your audience? If you want to drop a little bit of information maybe about someone you're trying to target right now, maybe I can tell you what kind of story might work for them. I'll try and share if I can. If I got some time, I'll try and share that down there. You know I try to answer your questions. I try to respond when I can, guys. So, like this video if you liked it, and I don't know what else I have to say, so I'm Sinister Lex, and I will see you next time!